So feel free. Mike in Lomita, California, listening on KPFK. Hey, Mike, what's up?
Hi. I'm just thinking about this Hobby Lobby case and the door that the court opened here.
Yeah.
It seems to me, if memory serves, that this Religious Freedom Restoration Act may have had something to do with Native American religions.
It was the response to the Supreme Court ruling in a peyote case in Oregon that, and I don't recall, did the court rule in favor of the peyote users or against them? I frankly don't remember. I think they ruled in favor of the peyote users, saying that they were using a fairly relaxed standard of proof that the peyote users had to demonstrate that it was in the good of the government and all these other things. And so what the Religious Freedom Restoration Act does is it complies with Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution, which says Congress can regulate the Supreme Court. Congress can provide the exceptions under which the court can rule and can regulate the court. And so the act, which I am holding in my hand, says that the purpose of this act, the purposes of the act are, 1, to restore the compelling interest test as set forth in Sherbert v. Werner, and to guarantee its applicability in all cases where free exercise of religion is substantially burdened. In other words, you must demonstrate that if the Supreme Court must say, if they are going to say in a ruling anything about anything, that there is a compelling interest to the United States of America for this to happen, number 1. And number 2, to provide a claim or defense to persons whose religious exercise is substantially burdened by the government. So this compelling interest and substantial burden, these are the highest thresholds that the court can, that people have to jump over to satisfy the court. And so the Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993 was designed to make it harder for the Supreme Court to just say to any old person, oh, yeah, your religious practice is just fine, or your religious practice is no good. In other words, it made it harder for the court to rule on religious practices. And the court said this is one of the reasons why they limited this to contraception, rather than saying that this applies to workplaces that where you may have pastafarians who want everybody to wear a strainer on their head or whatever. Making sense?
Yeah, it makes.
And in fact, the court said in their ruling that they were constrained by. They explicitly said this in the ruling, in the Hobby Lobby ruling, that the Religious Freedom Restoration Act constrained them and essentially forced them to rule this way.
Yeah, that's what they're saying in this decision, but down the road, who knows?
Yeah, I agree.
What occurred to me, though, is that this was stirred something in memory about the old false-face cults, and especially in the Iroquoian peoples back in the East Coast, where basically you put on a mask and you become a supernatural creature which has more than mere mortal powers.
Yes.
And basically that's what they seem to have done with the Hobby Lobby thing, because you have this legal fiction, which is not a person with a physical body.
Right, the corporation.
But it has the capacity to not die. It cannot be drafted and sent to Vietnam.
Or Iraq.
And now it seems that it can, while it's already a privileged status,
yep. They can accumulate infinite amounts of money. It never has to go through probate. Up until the 1890s in the United States, every state said that a corporation can't last more than 40 years, more than basically the working lifespan of a person. But now corporations can live forever. They are super persons. And now the Supreme Court has said not only that, they have religion. And this is open to Pandora's box. You mark my words.
Under Hobby Lobby, though, this legal fiction has without a body, has the capacity to dictate to a real person with a body what
That's correct.
form of contraception they can use.
Yeah, specifically women. I think if this decision had affected men, if Hobby Lobby had been refusing to pay for Viagra or for vasectomies, I don't think there's any way the court would have ever ruled this way.
Yeah, and if corporations could get pregnant, the contraception will be it
would be a sacrament.
Right.
Yeah.
So I suggest that we should all go back to one of these Iroquoian false-face cults and incorporate ourselves and declare our exemption from any government imposition which disagrees with our religion.
This is already happening. I mean, there's more than 50 corporations right now that have lawsuits in federal courts, almost all of them going beyond Hobby Lobby, most of them having to do with contraception. This is happening on the right. I realize you're saying we should do it on the left with things that that are pushing our favorite things.
I'm saying we should do like entertainers, become corporations, and then assert our religious liberties.
Yes, I agree. But here's the thing. I mean, the Supreme Court issued this ruling on, what was it, Thursday? Or Wednesday, rather? And, Monday, whatever it was. The day that they issued the ruling, the next day, they said to lower courts that were deciding cases that were saying, because they said 4 out of these 20 contraceptive methods Hobby Lobby didn't have to pay for. There were other corporations who were saying, we don't want to pay for any contraception method, period, even condoms. We don't want to pay for anything. And what the court said to the lower courts was, go ahead and decide these basically and illegalize all 20 of them. And they said to the courts that had ruled before against the corporations, you have to reconsider your decisions. And this was considered a fine-tuning of the case. So, Mike, I got to move along, but thanks for the call.